Hello to our viewer here at WCO TV, where work and culture meet for cooperation, understanding, and effectiveness in the workplace. Today, we have two local experts here to help you make some sense out of your learning module activity. Jim and Janetta, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jojo. And we're both very happy to be here, although I'm not sure that we are what you would call experts.
Exactly, Janetta. I think we're more like travelers along the road to intercultural competence.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Well, would one of you like to set the scene up for our viewers and explain how cultural misunderstanding affects the workplace?
Sure, Jojo. Basically, we don't realize the way that culture does affect our work styles until we run into misunderstandings. The 3 vignettes that we just watched showed how easy it is to run into cultural problems. Until people understand what is cultural versus what is personal, how to follow cultural clues to get to the root of a misunderstanding, and what they have in common, because that's what's going to help them create the bonds of professional and personal friendships, workplaces can be tense.
Or do you mind repeating that list again? I don't know if I got that all. You said something personal and something cultural. What was the next few parts again?
The second part is learning how to follow cultural clues. So this is, for example, watching for behavior, speech patterns, watching for feelings. The third part is that we need to be able to identify what we have in common, because that's the way we're going to create friendships.
If I could interrupt for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Well, over time, living or working in the same place, the group norms become normal. What is normal is right. Anyone who acts differently from the norm or the expected range of behavior is considered wrong and abnormal. Now, the new people may in fact simply be doing things according to the way their group did things.
Yeah, so it would be sort of like if the way I use my fork here would be different from people who are using the fork in Russia. And then in China, they won't be using forks at all because they use chopsticks. And even though the tools are there to just get food into our mouth, but what is considered normal in one place may not be considered normal at all somewhere else.
Exactly. Now, once you know what the new norm is, you may like it better than what you're already doing. You may not like it. You may come up with something that is an adaptation of both sets of norms.
So, in other words, you can create a new normal by combining things, right? Maybe I can be eating with both a fork and chopsticks at the same time.
Right.
We were talking about cultural misunderstanding at the beginning of the show. Tim, would you mind speaking more about it?
With cultural misunderstandings, until you realize that it actually is culture that is causing you to not understand what's going on, you may think that there is something wrong with the character, competency, or personality of the person you do not understand.
In my experience, when people first run into cultural misunderstandings at work, they don't usually think it's about culture. So, for an example, a Rwandan woman explained it like this to me. She said, when she's coming to Canada, she's thinking, at first, I'm thinking, what is wrong with me? I'm usually so smart. How did I lose my intelligence so quickly coming to Canada?
An Estonian friend told me, we learned many things in Estonia that Canadians don't know how to do. It's very frustrating to work with a team where everyone is incompetent.
So the Rwandan lady thought it's all her fault that she couldn't understand, even though she spoke the language, and the Estonian fellow just thought everyone else was incompetent.
Exactly. These responses are so common. And the fact is, everyone gets very frustrated when these things happen.
To me, the newcomer response is similar to what people who are born in the country also think about the newcomers. They say, well, didn't they teach them the basics where they come from? Why don't they get it?
And even if people do know that the differences are because of culture, they don't always know how to say it in a way that others can understand.
Well, we've heard a lot about how important it is for people to pay attention to cultural differences in order to avoid misunderstanding in the workplace. Are there other benefits to becoming cross-culturally competent?
Oh, there certainly is. It takes some effort and practice to learn to work with people from different cultures. But the more you do it, the more you become relaxed and enjoy friendships with a greater variety of people. And you do develop adaptability and flexibility.
Well, that's all the time we have today. This was a great start to the program, and I look forward to having you for guests again at WCO TV. Thank you, Tim and Junetta.